Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I hope other folks do show up to the meeting. I know no emails went out, so we'll we'll
I hope
see.
so
Because I
too.
am really excited about these options. I think they're gonna like really they're two good options is what I
I like that there's two. And also, yeah, I think that a consortium-wide solution is nice, but it does require maintenance by somebody
yeah,
because then
yeah,
every time someone makes a shelving location, we're going to need to add it to a group.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it's like I think that the group's choice is easier, but still requires admin, and the other one is like more work on the front end.
I do think for libraries that are interested in using the groups, it would be pretty easy to set up a report
Yeah,
that is just here are all your shelving locations and here are the ones that aren't assigned to groups.
yeah.
I think I'm going to have to mess with the nullability to get the ones that have a blank for the group. But
Yes.
I mean, you really just have to, as part of your PLS prep, you would just run that, see what you have that's not in a group, assign it to a group, and then it's not time sensitive because you're doing the circs between 2 days. It doesn't matter when you put it in the group. You can put it in 2 minutes before you run your PLS report.
Yeah.
So,
I like my current method, I think, but if other people are looking for a method,
mhm.
I'm hopeful. So I'm looking at the clone right now. It looks good. I mean, it's a
Thank
simple,
you.
it's like
It's
a
so
hard source, but the report itself doesn't need to be complex, you
the
know?
source is hard because it only has like three primary linkages, and you have to go at it through the mapping. And I was like going at it through some very incorrect ways that were giving me zero circs. And I was like, "Whoa, this is gonna be bad if Elizabeth doesn't get back to me." But I finally figured it out.
That's
Poor
great.
Elizabeth, like she sent me. She's like, here's the core source. And I was like, I actually found it like 2 minutes after I hit send. However, if you have a snip of your report that includes circs, I'm having trouble getting circs on. And then like 10 minutes after I said that, but I would still love to see her report because it could be doing something cool that I haven't thought of. So
Is she Pines?
yeah. Yeah, she's like she has the like short haircut, like super nice, as in most of the circ and ac meetings, like really I think of them as kind of a like peer system to us because they have only like two consortial staff. They don't have a huge team of consortial staff. So I'm always looking
Do
at
you know very
them.
much about Pales? Like, do they have a large consortial staff?
But they that it is Pales.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you
they have
said,
two.
so I said Pines.
Oh, you said Pines. No, sorry. Elizabeth
Because I was
Davis
like, I
is
think Pines is
Pales.
sort of,
Pines has an
that was like,
enormous
I was
consortial
surprised
staff.
that
Yes.
Pines
No,
only has
sorry. Sorry.
two.
Pales, other
Okay.
P consortium. Pales has, I believe, two. Maybe they might have just hired a third person, but they have a very minimal consortial staff. They're hosted by Equinox, so they have like a lot of
Right.
similarities to us. So I'm like, if Elizabeth can figure it out, we can figure it.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
she seems super duper nice. Um, I will say I might ask you, or I might ask for the permissions to create shelving location groups
That's what I was
for
going to ask, actually. Do you want to share?
Kirkwood.
Because so mine doesn't work if I leave the context as ME, but if I change the context to MLC,
Oh,
it
yeah,
does
yeah, yeah.
work.
Let me share my screen. Let
So
me
I
share
thought
my
we
screen.
could give it a try because I should be able to add that to your account if you do not have it, but
Two screen two.
I feel like you should.
I thought I tried. Are you looking at my
Oh
reporter
yeah, I'm
screen?
seeing your report
Cool.
screen.
Cool. Okay. So I know I go to admin. Is it local admin?
Yes,
Shelving location groups.
nailed it.
Okay.
So change the context to
Let's
MLC.
see if I can make a group.
Now it looks like the new location group's
Mm,
still grayed out. If you hover,
yeah.
does it do anything on the
Oh,
right?
wait. It's doing. Oh, nope. Hang on. It's just being kind of laggy, I think.
So if you hover over the new location group button on the right side, the blue one,
Yeah, I don't have a
um,
cursor,
let
or
me,
I don't have a yeah
yeah, that's okay.
clickability.
And can you edit? Those you can't. You're missing the edit button. Okay, let me go into your account.
Oh, but this is nice. I can view them. I didn't even realize I could view them. I think this has changed since the last time I tried looking at it.
Possibly. I bet we can figure out what the permission is.
This is cool. This like looks different than other editor. Did this change? Have you really looked at this very much? I remember when it became, I think it was back in February when we upgraded that it showed up as like an option near the search bar. And then like I kind of looked at it and didn't really think about it much after that.
Oh, admin copy location group. I'm going to give it to you on system level. I think admin should cover create and edit. Okay, do you want to back out of the screen and then come back to it and see, or refresh might even do it?
Yeah, hang on. So I'm choosing now to mess with my webcam. I apologize for making you seasick. Okay. Yeah, let me navigate away and come back. Okay.
Yeah, I did system level, so MLC.
Ooh, it changed. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
you
Look
see
at
you've
that.
got new buttons there now. So it's not
Yeah.
just the new location group. On the ones that already exist, you can edit them.
Cool.
So display above orgs, like the help documentation on this was actually pretty helpful. Display above orgs mean it will show above our organizational name. So I did no on that. And then OPEC visible, it seems counterintuitive, but you have to do yes if you want it to show on the staff drop down.
Oh, that's right.
Also.
Yeah. Okay.
However, I
I
don't
don't
think we
really want
actually
it
want
to, if
that.
it's just for
Yeah.
stats collecting, I don't want that. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
left it as no for the PLS one.
Cool. I mean, my thought is that I would create the shelving location groups for our shelving locations so that at the very least, like as part of the reporting, well, as unofficially part of the reporting committee, I could like show folks how it works with ours, specifically just Kirkwood, not MLC. Knowing that I don't actually report anything to PLS, you do all of that for us.
Well, what I was actually going to say though is that Kirkwood, if you actually hit cancel on that,
Yeah.
and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and look on the right hand side, very, very bottom, like literally all the way. So you see that? So
Those are all
Kirkwood
my special
has very few of its own shelving locations. So I'm more than happy for you to put those into PLS groups, but they will be on the MLC level because that's how our shelving locations exist.
Okay, that's right. I forgot that our shelving locations are consortial for us. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
We're going on an exciting exploratory journey.
Yes.
I can stop sharing my screen as
No, I don't. I mean, you
are
can
you
if
sure?
you want to,
I don't want to like
No,
Heather, Heather and I jumped on early to try and do a little road testing with some of these ideas we've been talking about.
And I've gotten Equinox's opinion on the shelving locations idea.
Ooh,
That's-
fun.
What they
Well, I know we'll get to it. I know. We
Yeah.
want to we don't want to do too much prior work.
Yeah.
Here, I am going to stop sharing just because I don't like.
That's fair.
Like everybody should like get to join before we jump right in.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's a nice fall day up here.
That's nice here too.
Did anyone see Aurora last night? I didn't see a
I
thing.
did not.
Not last night. The night before I did, only with the
Ooh.
camera. I
Okay.
couldn't see it with the naked eye because I'm too much in the city. We have a friend that lives 10 minutes outside, and he said he could see it with the naked eye, and we could not.
So when you said you could see it with a camera, did you just
Mm-hmm.
open your camera and look through it, or did you have to actually take a long exposure?
Long exposure, I set it to night mode, and so we got some good pictures, but we couldn't actually see them.
I think I heard that you had to do it with a camera, so I took my phone out and was just looking through my phone, but I think I missed the critical part, which is that you're supposed to try to do
Yeah.
a long exposure. So I actually could have been looking at it last night and just have no idea.
My husband read up on how to change the camera over to the right exposure to get what he wanted to see, and it's like, okay. We should have just drove outside the city, but we didn't.
It's hard to want to do that when it's like 9:30 and you're
Yeah.
in your cozy clothes.
I'm on my PJs, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
It should show up on its own without having to do all that extra.
Right. That's right. I mean, even if we have to go to Iceland to do it.
We'll probably have a few more people show up, I expect.
I think so. I think Renita mentioned that she was coming. Double Heathers. This meeting is blessed. I know there's a ton of us out there, but I actually don't meet that many other Heathers. So
Well, if everybody's all right, we'll just go ahead and start. Seems about right. I finally got around to reading the email that you sent, Colleen, about the cleanup of all of the reports and ME. So I was really pleased with that. It's
And
nice to hear.
are you guys all happy if I go ahead and submit that to the board to do that? Because Equinox said they can do it with just a help desk ticket. As long as I know, and thank you, Heather Arnold, sorry. On helping me on a few of those ones that I had wrong on as far as who was the owner of those, because that's important.
So in short, I think Colleen had done some research and sent to Tony and me about folders that are being shared at the consortium level. and asking support to move those shares down to the system level, leaving consortial shares only for Tony, Emmy reports, Equinox, and like maybe one more.
Let me share my screen and I will share that report. And these are the shared template reports that everybody has. And the ones that are in orange, I'm actually recommending we delete those folders completely. So CVL admin, ePfizer, JCL admin, there are no templates, they're just empty folders. And then finally get rid of the Mobius one, since those are old, outdated ones that we actually have in MEC, so there's no sense in keeping that. Now, in my report, I kept MLC, and Heather said I can move hers back up to the ones that can be moved to, these ones that are shared template folders will be moved from consortium level to the system level. So MLC would still have access to all of those. Heather, one of the reasons why I left it on there is because I know you and Tony both, and evidently Karen, get specialty reports from member libraries. And rather than have them be put in the ME reports when they're specialty reports, I left a shared folder. Now, I'm more than, we can move it up to the ones you talked about, sharing and unsharing at different times. I don't know what you want to do there.
Well, maybe input from Tony and Karen. So I didn't, because I shouldn't have spoken for them. I think my thought was we just want to share as few folders as possible. If people see exceptions, then it's hard to try to enforce a rule. And if we're making reports to be shared to other member libraries, I think for consistency, it's nice if they're in ME reports, because then if something happens to Karen or Mai's usernames down the road, those reports wouldn't disappear with us. I mean, I think Tony as chair, it makes sense for him to be an exception there, but.
I will
The
say
other option is within the ME reports, you can put another folder called specialty reports.
Oh, okay.
So like when you're doing one specifically for, like you did Heartland, I had Heartland as the owner of that one because I saw the template name. And you can change it to a specialty report where it's only dealing with one library. That way they're not mixed in with all the other reports. Does that make sense?
I think that makes good sense. Absolutely.
Okay. So I will move this one up to the ones that will be then shared only at the system level. These reports should not disappear. All it's changing is the owner level. So Carthage would have all access to the reports and their templates and their all their shared folders. It would just not be shared with all of us. It would be just shared with Carthage. Delaney and James Memorial. What happened is, yes, there was a bug, but also Equinox was sharing all new migration folders at the consortium level. And that's caused a good problem. They did the same with Ozark Regional. They shared it as a consortium level, and I got with Rogan and I said, no, don't do that. Move those up to system levels so they have it, so all their branches have access to those. But it's causing all the different folders. I think it's causing confusion amongst the membership with a lot of duplicate reports in the shared area. But that's kind of what was working on. Are you guys okay with the reports that I've flagged? The only ones that will be remaining are the ones below this line, with the exception of MLC. I'll move it up there.
I have no problem with what you've flagged. I mean, sometimes I think some of the people don't realize they can just share within their system.
And to be honest, I did not until you showed me how to do
Yeah.
it back a year or so ago with Poe.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not know I could share it with just my system.
And I think we probably should have just the Emmy reports have a specialty folder. And possibly just have that, we're gonna put this in here for a limited amount of time. This is specially done for you. I mean, I did a special report earlier today and put it in the Emmy circ under
Mhm.
list. Someone else might use it, but I did that for Karen at Bowling Green.
Mhm.
And
So would it help to have um a specialty folder within the Emmy reports or just an Emmy reports? Or a specialty folder outside the Emmy?
well, it would have to be in that, that Emmy reports
Yeah,
folder. I mean,
okay.
the Emmy basically is
Our reports that we create.
our reports. It's working out of Trails Library,
Okay.
because that's where I think the person started it.
Kyle Constant, whenever
Yeah.
he was the
Yeah.
chair of the
So,
so it's actually Trails, okay.
yeah, it belongs to Trails. I had thought of broaching the subject if we could do something to make it a standalone, just like like it was another library,
Yeah,
where it's not
tied to one library.
yeah, somebody at Trails could decide, oh, what's that folder? I don't think we need that anymore, and then bye.
Well, I mean, Emmy cataloger belongs to St. Genevieve.
Yeah.
It's like whenever I log in as Papa Buff. Because
Yeah.
that's where the director's login is at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to, but
That actually might be something we can ask Equinox if we could do that, if there's a way we could do that without giving everybody the access to get rid of it.
the drawback, of course, would be that when we're testing things,
Mhm.
we wouldn't have a a catalog of stuff to test it on.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
Well, why
Well,
don't we leave it this way for now? And if we decide if you guys decide that you would rather not, you'd rather change it around, that'd be fine, but at least this will get all the shared template folders out of there for now, and then you can always fine tune it. Because according to Equinox, they'll do it with just a help desk ticket. So,
yeah, I'd say go for it.
okay.
I mean, just address one thing at a time, and that's something that definitely needs to be addressed.
Okay. Well, then that's what I'll bring up to the board next week and see what they think about that as far as a way of. Now, Equinox did say we can limit the amount of people that share to the consortium at all. Now, this does not change any of that. So these libraries could then actually, once again, share to the consortium. What I'm trying to do is fix one issue and then come back and maybe with permissions issues, get it to where only certain people can share to the entire consortium. Because I know we'll have probably a few people that want those privileges. So,
Yeah, before that gets taken away from people, I think there needs to be a discussion with the entirety of,
I think it needs to be discussion with the entire ME community.
Yes.
Before we go that far, but this isn't really changing their folder. All it's doing is changing the level that they're shared. It's not changing the reports. It's not changing their outputs. Actually, whenever they log in, they'll still see their report in the shared folder. They just won't see everybody else's. So.
Yeah.
All right, so that was what I wanted to bring up.
and I think that's great. I think I mean, when I was reading over what you and Heather had been discussing, and I think, that all sounds good. The only things I was going to bring up today, if I can share this little, see if I can share my screen here. Is starting to talk about making new trainings, which we had talked about and haven't gotten around to yet. But
One thing I did want to mention, if you are looking for the training page on Missouri Evergreen site, it's been taken off the menu, but I didn't delete the page or anything out there. It's there. I just took it off the menu. So nobody can get it and get all those old trainings.
yes, yeah. Yeah, we want to have new trainings that are up to date, that have everything people need to know. And that's what I was going to go over. What format do we want the training in? Do we want it to be slides? Do we want it to be videos? Do we want it? I personally think slides are better, but that's just me. Some people might respond better to videos. Where will the training reside? Well, I'm thinking on our the ME website on the training page.
You could either do it on the training page. I could definitely edit that and get rid of the other old stuff. Or you could put it on the YouTube channel if you're doing videos, depending on how you want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know very much about who has access to or what we can put on our Odoo page, because as somebody who's gone through all of the cataloger trainings, like that has basically both versions of Liz's training, which is the video and the slide version. So it's there for multiple learning modalities, which is really nice for folks who, but it's all in one place. So it's, if you have YouTube, then that's video. And if you have the website, then that's, so I don't know if Odoo is even an option, but I personally really like that for the cataloging training.
It is, right now, we only have 2 licenses for that. That doesn't mean that we can't add more licenses. Liz has one and I have one. But that doesn't mean that we can't add more licenses. I don't know the cost on that or anything like that, so, yeah.
Is the license just like an individual login?
It is an individual login with different permissions for different things.
I think, I mean, I know that Liz put a lot of work into those, but the cataloging training is beautiful.
Yeah. She definitely put a lot of work into them.
I mean, I'm not opposed to having multiple formats for training.
And I think if we start with slides and Odoo became more possible later, we could add those there.
It's easy to turn a slideshow into a video if you want it to, but I mean, still it's a slideshow. Video needs to be something a little different. I've been making videos with ScreenPal and Canva that are specific to library app training and different things like that for the new app for our library and stuff like that. It's doable. It just depends on how much time and energy you want to put into it. And if we have something that can do it both at the same time, awesome.
I
I'll
feel
look at the cost of that because I do not know what it would cost to get another license, but I will look at that.
it makes sense to me, and I'm curious what other people think, that simple reports be the place where we start, because the new Angular simple reports is new to everyone. So I think most, even member libraries who've been around for years, might not feel comfortable with Angular simple reports yet. So if we started there, I do think it's easier to teach. And we might meet a lot of reports needs relatively quickly.
I would not be opposed to doing simple reports. I have not been using simple reports, quite honestly, because I have no problem using the other report system. It just depend on if it's something we can do. We're going to have to do training for all of it.
Yeah.
And part of what I was hoping to kind of at least start a discussion on is, looking at what we're going to do, looking at the division of workload, because we're all volunteering our time here, and we all have our actual jobs at our own libraries that we have to do before we can even do any of this other stuff. So it can't all be done by one person. And then what kind of time table we want to set up. Do we want to set goals for, well, we would have simple reports trainings available by February, or we'd have it by, the middle of next year if we have to go out a little further or whatever. And how we want to, go at each of those. I know I wanted to do a training on simply being able to search for reports, because I have had numerous people contact me by email asking for reports that I will just go and do a search for and then show them, well, this exists, here it is, you can, this will probably work for you. And they could have just done the search themselves if they knew how to do it.
I think it's a great idea. Plus, in the video, and you can talk a little bit about looking for newer reports and what Zool means. I think just like a 5-minute quick hit of like how to search for reports, that would be really welcome.
People mention Zool, and all I think of is
5-minute short
Ghostbusters.
takes. 5-minute
yeah.
short takes might be the way to at least start off.
That is
I'm
way
happy to-
less intimidating than like an hour-long reporter training. I think that's a really good, it's a really good idea.
5 minutes, 15 minutes, but set a short time limit, because most of these people are like you. They have limited amount of time, and they just want an answer to one question. They don't want to watch an hour-long video to get an answer to one question. I think short takes might be the way to go.
And
A lot
that's
of
really,
them, but
really just cutting into short little bits is a much better idea. We've been talking about that with the videos I've been making for, our new Aspen overlay and everything, with the catalog, just because nobody's going to sit through anything over 2 minutes. They just don't want to. They will lose attention, and that's it. So if you can't get it across in an extremely short period of time, then it's almost, fruitless.
I feel silly saying this now, but I do have an hour-long video that I made for the MLC for simple reports.
don't feel silly.
It might be, if I could, I mean, I'm happy to volunteer at least to like create an outline of what I think we could cover for simple reports. And then how we could break that down into quick little sessions. I mean, the problem with an hour-long video is that if you flub what you've said, you really are not going to go back and fix it. If it's 5 minutes, you could re-record, if you felt inclined to do that. So I still like that.
No, I totally get, I used to do hour-long videos too, and it's like, and then nobody watches them.
I went to look at it to be like, well, maybe it's only 45 minutes. And it was like, no, it's 59 minutes and 4 seconds. On a really related note, Tony, do you mind if I share my screen?
Oh, let me stop sharing. Sorry.
No, it's not sorry, but I think though this might, okay, this is the reports thing. I didn't mean to show that. What I mean to show is this. So hopefully you're now seeing a survey.
Mhm.
So Tony and I discussed last month about like, what if we sent out a survey to members asking what they would like to learn? Because I see that Tony has a list of topics there that I think are great. And I think if we could combine that with another couple of things, then we can hear what people most want, which might help them feel more satisfied with the trainings that we create. So I'm going to share this to everyone who's here for input. But if we sent out a survey, it might get some good responses. So I just say, we want to hear about what you need and what you need to know. And I ask for email and library. And then I list a few reports here that people might be interested in. So they can say, we already have this, we're interested in this, we're not interested. I can see my things are cut off there. So I'm going to need to work on the layout. And then down here, do you have reports you think are great that you'd like to share? Because I think a reports sharing session could be really fun. And then our staff is interested in reports training, so custom templates from scratch, modifying templates, searching for templates, simple reports, and then discussion. So just be curious what people think. If they look at this, if they think it would be useful, or if they've got things to share.
I think this is fabulous because whenever I do my survey, it's just very basic, what training do you think they need? So it's not broken down on what type of reports training that they need. And this does that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that is great. We hopefully we'll get some good response from it. I mean, just looking at it there, it looked wonderful.
So as much as I just talked about how simple reports I think is the thing people want, maybe that's not what they want. Like maybe the survey will come back and everyone says they want this one thing. So that at least gives us a place to point ourselves.
With what you'll find as with us older group, the ones that have been on MEC for a while, we poo-pooed simple reports when it came out. And maybe we need to take another look at it. And especially since the other reports went to Angular, and maybe we need to take another look at it, what it does. Because I think a lot of you'll find maybe the older group that have been on MEC for a while, it got a bad rep, put it that way.
I mean, if it wasn't super
wasn't what
functional when
we
it
were
first got started.
expecting.
I can see why.
It wasn't what we were expecting when we commissioned Equinox to build it. So,
So I'll send that out to, I mean, Paul, Heather, Christy. Do y'all also want to get it? I will send it to Colleen, Karen, Tony, Regina for sure. Yay. My fellow Heather is in. Okay. Yay.
Well, excellent, excellent. I think that'll be a good start. Before we really start into making anything, let's find out what people want actually to find out
What they think they want.
what they think they want. And then they may find out, no, that's not answering my question. uh, well, I mean, starting training was really what I had meant to bring to the meeting today. So anything is I'll just put out there. Does anyone have a reports question? Anyone shown up with a reports need or
I have a question.
Regina, you're quite soft. I can hear you, but just a little bit.
Okay. Okay, how's that? All right. My question is about the date that you set for the reports. As far as is it the first day of, for example, October to the first day of November in order to capture all of October? Or is it the first day of October to the last day of October to capture all of October? Apparently there is a difference because I have some reports that do it one way and some reports that do it the other way. But I'm wondering, as a general rule, was there any reply to that question with Equinox, or do you have
There-
any?
They gave us a reply, which I sent to you. And the reply was that if you wanted to include circulations for October 31, for example, you would include November 1st as the date. But then you ran those test reports.
Right.
That is not what we found in the results.
Yeah.
So when you sent those to me, I updated the ticket with that information, and I didn't receive another reply.
Wow.
But I also haven't followed up on it. So that falls on me.
no, it does not fall on you.
Well,
That falls on Equinox because I'm pretty sure that they did not know what they were talking about.
I also ran some of those tests when we were all on that email string, and
Yeah.
I was running them for a single day basically, so it, very kind of contained numbers. And based on my testing, and I also asked ChatGPT about this, so take it with a big ChatGPT grain of salt, but I fed it the where date SQL line from my debugging information, and it basically said that the way that SQL line is formatted is that it's ignoring the timestamp and it's looking at the date as a whole. So I feel, based on not that this is different than what Equinox told us, which certainly gives me pause, but based on those tests that we ran and looking at the numbers, my understanding is that date picker works exactly how you would expect a date picker to work, which is you pick the first day of the month and the last day of the month, and it gives you the circ stats for that month. So it would be nice to have an actual reply from Equinox, but I feel confident that the stats that the way we told people to run stats for the PLS survey got them the correct data.
I agree.
I will tell you, Equinox has had some issues lately. Our rep has been out for 6 weeks on a medical leave. And so, which is why I'm so far behind on some things that I promised everybody they would have, and they don't. And so they've been picking it up as they, and so, yeah. Oh, she's back now, so hopefully we'll get some better answers, some things.
Okay, well, thank you.
Karen, will you actually send me a link to one of the reports you did for just like a 1 day, and I'll update the ticket again. since
Definitely.
we already
Yeah.
have one going, so I
Yeah.
think that'll be the best possible example. Thank you.
Heather, you're doing. I'm so pleased that you are working on these things. It's because I don't have time to do them.
I had a moment of panic. I mean, when Regina mentioned what they had told her, I felt terrible because I was like, we told everyone to do it this way, and then to find out that that might not have been right. But then when it looked like everything was fine, I have to admit I let it fall by the wayside. Like things pop up in importance and then they lessen in importance, which is why we haven't had full resolution. But now I'm happy to help look into it because reporting is like one of the main things that I do. I really want to have confidence in what I'm sending
Yeah.
out.
I already would confidently say that you do not have to include the first day of the next month to get your numbers.
Maybe
I mean,
they need to have that maybe in their internal documentation, just so other people, so that when it
Yeah.
comes up again, like they know.
Yes, it'd be good if they run the report and see physically that's what's happening. I mean, I have asked them about reports before. They have not been able to give me an answer, and then I've worked out an answer. I mean, they're wonderful, but sometimes I'm sure that there are things they haven't thought of.
I think too, the difference that the Karen's Chat GPT found, it was to do with parentheses, and if the parentheses are around the date versus around the statement. So it was quite a small detail, which can be really important in a SQL statement, because I will say, so I know that support said this report is using this SQL statement. When I look at the SQL statement, it says this. So they went to the code on it and confidently said that we do need to use the next date. But then, so yeah, we'll get a final answer.
Anyone else have anything?
I don't want to take away time if people have other questions about reports, but Heather and I have been tinkering with a few ideas to help with collecting stats for the categories that the public library survey looks for. So again, don't want to take time away from questions, but if nobody else has questions, I figured we could show a couple of those possibilities. And I believe Colleen has also been talking to Equinox about some options too. This is in particular those kind of age-based collection categories that don't necessarily have direct correlations to our shelving location names as a giant consortium. I'm going to just give it a second if anybody wants to jump in with a question. I don't want to like take up all the space.
That sounds really good. If nobody else has any questions,
Cool. So I was in a Evergreen cataloging interest group meeting where Elizabeth Davis, who is one of the consortial staff at Pales in Pennsylvania, was talking about using shelving location groups to collect stats for statistical categories that span different shelving locations. So I believe that it was with 313 that shelving location groups came available, or at least that's when I became aware of them. So this is something that you have to have the permissions to do it, but you can create a group of shelving locations. So for example, you could put if you have neighborhoods in your juvenile nonfiction collection, you could just create a group that calls all of those nonfiction so that you could pull circ stats on your juvenile nonfiction, even though you have dinosaurs and fairy tales and all those different areas in your shelving location names. So I've been tinkering with the report, and I think took me a while, but I found like the aged and active combined circ pathway in there and all of that stuff. So I don't, you know, would this work for every library? I don't know, but it's one of those cases where you do a little setup on the front end to go through every shelving location name you're actively using, create groups that correspond to the stat collection categories for the public library survey. And then at the end, at stat reporting time, you can just run a report that looks at those groups and you've got your numbers, as opposed to having to do a bunch of Excel magic to get those categories brought together. So I think I have a functioning report that I'm happy to share and show folks. Heather, I didn't actually have the ability to create shelving location groups myself, so Heather made a couple MLC test ones and I ran it on those. So it seems like an exciting possibility, and I do know that other consortia are kind of like in the same boat. That, I mean, it was not my original idea. This came from being in another meeting, but just something to throw out there because I know that is kind of a pain point for our stats collecting stuff. So.
And Karen, I took what you had suggested and I have consortial response. So I can actually set consortial shelving locations. And they can be not visible to the OPAC or the staff. So what we could do is assign every shelving location within Missouri Evergreen to one of those categories that the PLS needs, which is really just adult, children, and teen physical materials. The problem will be a couple things. I mean, I can actually make those and change everybody's shelving locations into those groups. The problem will be we have a lot of mixed audience shelving locations, like videos. And then we also have new libraries joining us all the time. So then we'd have to set some policies that said if you create a new shelving location, you have to put it in one of these groups, or if so. And then what do we do with the mixed audience ones? Which are causing us all fits now anyway, because we're having to make a judgment of, okay, I'll put them with, like Polk has just plain videos. We don't have it broken down between children and adult. So when we did our PLS, those all just got grouped in with adult because there's no way to legitimately split them. So we would either have to make one of those kind of decisions. I'm not sure that's the best option, or to have the shelving locations for each of those libraries where, like, somebody has a display and it's a display of mixed audiences. Well, do we tell them they can't do that? I don't want to do that either. I don't want to do that. So there'll be some to do it on a consortium level. And actually, Equinox says, you know what? You do that. You can run a report for the entire consortium and give them all their numbers. One run report, and I could tell, this is what Kirkwood would have. This is what Poplar Bluff would have. And these three in children's, teens, and adults, and give them their numbers so they can plug them into the PLS. That might be an option. It would take some thought and some idea breaking to try to figure out what to do with those mixed audience shelving locations, because if they're not in there, those numbers aren't going to be right as far as circulation goes. And then there's some that it really doesn't matter, like staff repair or missing pieces or odor remediation that the libraries use. Those don't need to be in those categories anyway, because they're staff used. For the same token, I can run a report with everybody's patron count. And just send it to those libraries. And have it more centrally located, so, kind of like what Corey used to do with, our, MoGib to go's count and all of that. It's an option. So everybody's using the same number from the same report.
That is similar to what I do for the MLC libraries, because I run those for my 9. And given that many libraries have different fiscal years, what I do is that on the first day of every month, I have it run a snapshot report of the number of users that we have, and the materials in each of our shelving locations, as well as our cost. So then no matter when someone's fiscal year starts, I have a report that reflects the first day of their fiscal year. And then I just have like an archive that I can access.
I mean, I would have to run it for those libraries with this fiscal year, with these libraries for this fiscal year, but it's doable.
Or if you just ran it and for collections, if you just ran it every month, then you wouldn't, then.
Yeah, I could run a report every month, send you everybody's, and then you guys could figure out your own fiscal years, and I.
Or if we shared the output folders, then in theory, we wouldn't have to like get an email. People could just go in and like look at it. I think I have a copy of the PLS, and I think the challenge that I see is that I'm trying to share it and it's not working. The challenge that I see is that the collection counts. Are you seeing the PLS?
Yeah.
Good. The collection counts are the categories that you mentioned: adult nonfiction, young adult nonfiction, children's nonfiction, then all of those for fiction. Then there's AV and video are totally separate.
But when you get to circulation, they want you to break it down.
Yes, in circulation, they want audio and video to have the different audiences. So this does not solve the problem that you're mentioning for collections that are shared audience. But if instead of just audio video, we did adult audio, juvenile audio, young adult audio, then you would add all of those together for the collection part, and then just add different categories together for the circulation part.
I mean, we could create ones for each of those categories. And then I don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, most of the libraries have on their audio, they have it split out. It's the videos that they don't.
Yeah.
Or, where do you put a display shelving location when it could include some of all of that as far as circulation? It wouldn't for, so I mean, it is some thinking that it'd be a whole lot easier than changing all the friggin' shelving locations that I've been staring at me for 5 months, and it's not gonna happen.
The problem that you're seeing though, like they already have that problem every year when they look at the PLS. So and we'd never force someone to do something, but we could suggest that they have display -juvenile, because then it helps them too. But
because it's something that we're all seeing on the PLS, that we're all having to, well, where do we put these numbers?
I think it's an elegant idea. The other idea that Karen heard from folks, and that I think is doable if a little bit more intensive, is to include an item stat cat on all the items, because those can be applied in bulk. So if we had a stat cat instead of the shelving location groups, then libraries could add the stat cats to items, and then we can run item counts based on the stat cat and circulations based on the stat cat. That puts the onus on the libraries themselves. And if they don't use the stat cats, or they decide not to require the stat cat on their items, then they'll be looking at incomplete numbers.
Well, yes and no, because that puts everybody, whenever they're running the PLS for the end of the year, and that library did not include the stat cat, then you've got it to where you don't have that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. For
So
items
you
that
would have to
are-
require it on all of them,
Yeah,
which is the same thing is what you would have with shelving locations, but thankfully on shelving locations, there's only 3,000 instead of, or close to 4,000, sorry, instead of 5 million.
I think
Because
that does
yes, it would
mean
work, it
less,
would
yeah.
really work really elegantly for your individual libraries to have the stat cap. But consortium wide, if you've borrowed something from another MEC library that did not have that stat cap, it would not be included.
Yeah, that does make sense.
It might have been something that would have been nice to do from the very beginning.
We live and learn. That's all we can do. I think Karen, did you want to, do you want to show the report? Because I didn't get a chance to look at output on it.
I can certainly show a little step. And I will say there are a couple bugs on Launchpad related to using shelving location groups. Like one is that they show up on the pull list, so that would be something that would need to be explained. But there's also a bug about that, so maybe it won't be an issue forever. Don't know.
Galen said it's easy, just ignore that. Just ignore the column. He did say that.
And then the other bug is basically that the shelving location groups, you can't get to them from other core sources in the reporter. You have to go in, like it's not fully linked out, but it's still new. So again, it's a bug. We may see improvement on that for sure. Let me find where I've got my report and then I can. Oh, I've closed all my browser windows now, so
You're just practicing good evergreen hygiene. We thank you for closing out your sessions.
Closing your, yeah.
yes, exactly. That's exactly
So
what
we
I was
don't have all
doing.
these auto logouts. They're just trying to diagnose what it is. They don't know.
Let's see here. All right, well, this is my super duper basic report output, which I'm okay, share. Hopefully you can see a very small, these are our only shelving location groups that we're currently using in the MLC. Heather's test PLS one here. So basically it's just that item count and then the combined aged and active circs, which is what the PLS wants, I believe. But I can
And that
certainly
is
come in.
counts of how many items are in the system? Okay.
How many items are in the shelving locations that you have put in that shelving location group,
Okay.
basically. Yeah. And then I have we can take a look actually at so this is the, it took me a while to find it in the sources because it's not called shelving location group. So it's not alphabetically where I'd expect it to be. It's called item/shelving location group. And then I found basically to get the information you want, you have to go in through this mapping portion, which again, I'm happy to share this report with the group if anybody wants to take a closer look at it, but it's got our agent active circulation linkage in there. So, it's barring all of the issues that Colleen has pointed out, it seems like a potential to get closer to
I think it is a
something
potential to
that we
get
want. Yeah.
closer. I just, it's just implementing it across, 80 some odd libraries with, 4,000 shelving locations. It is the issue, but it wouldn't, unless we had them put those shelving locations within each individual library, not at the consortium level, it would give you how many items. But if you did it at the consortium level, like I'm talking about for CERC, it wouldn't necessarily give you your individual items within that. So it may be something that we have to implement on an individual library system. And then, yeah.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, because our shelving locations are at the MLC level, which then is counting things from 9 libraries as opposed to just Kirkwood. So yeah, that is definitely another
But really, when you're doing
conundrum.
whenever you're doing item count, that's it per individual library anyway.
Oh yeah, you can filter it by owning. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're doing, where you're trying to combine all of those shelving locations to do cert count, because you need that for your circulation number.
Right. Right. You're
So
spanning.
I'm thinking the item count would work better at the individual library level, but not really at the consortium level for counting items. But not for the PLS anyway. It would work, I think, on the individual library system level for counting how many you have. But I'm not sure it would work. I don't know, it might.
Yeah,
I'll
I think if we played with the filters, if we threw on
Yeah.
some more owning library item filters, we could get at it, but it is tricky thinking about systems that share shelving locations versus individual libraries.
Yeah, and
Places
then there's
like Cass County aren't quite in the same boat as us because I think they report for this system, but then the MLC shares shelving locations and we're 9 independent libraries. So yeah, it absolutely is not easy.
But I think it has a lot more potential than the shelving location that I was looking at the very beginning of this project. The other thing, and I'll share what I was looking at, was we have, when you put in a shelving location, you can put in a prefix or a suffix, right? But most libraries do not use that prefix or suffix in the shelving location for printing labels. We really only have one library that uses this. We have four libraries that have some suffixes listed in the label suffix. But we only have one library that uses it with any regularity. So what you could do is put a PLS code in the label suffix of your shelving location. And then a report, you could have those put in there. Now, Equinox is not a big fan of this one because it uses label suffix for a purpose it was not intended. And it would forever get rid of using it as it was intended. But not only one library uses that as it was intended. So you're only messing with one library's workflow rather than all of them. Is it a trade-off? Yeah. But it is a possibility and it would work. It's just a matter of then all you would do is go into the shelving locations themselves, edit them, and add a suffix with a PLS code. Adult nonfiction, adult, you just couldn't use them for helping you print labels, which is what its intended purpose is for. So that is also a possibility. It's one Equinox isn't a fan of, but
Does that share at its heart the same problem as the item StatCat? That we have to be diligent on it.
Either way, no matter what we do, we're gonna have to be diligent.
That's
If we
true.
put PLS codes in shelving location groups, we've got to make sure that every shelving location is in one of those groups. If we put a suffix on there, we would have to make sure that every library has a suffix on their shelving location group. But you're talking 4,000, whereas item StatCat is 5 million. And then what I could do is run a report every June or July of shelving locations that weren't in the right groups across the consortium. So if somebody created some, we could fix it before the PLS came out. And the same way, if you guys wanted to do label suffixes, you could, I could run a report of shelving locations that don't have a suffix. And we could fix that before people start running the reports for the PLS. Those are options that I told Equinox it's a harebrained idea. I'm not sure it'll work, but here it is. You know, and they said it would work, but they don't recommend, so.
It's a little bit tricky because so test won't run reports. We know that. So we could just pick, like, we made one for PLS audio for testing. So if we treated that one like it was real, at least because we've got PLS data for like our most recently returned PLS. So that would give
Yeah.
us like a comparison number to run the report and say, yeah, we are confident in the results that are coming back. I think the report idea is great for like which shelving locations have no groups, because there's gonna be some that slip through the cracks. So I think that's
Oh, there's gonna be,
Fine.
and there's gonna be some I don't think you'll want in groups, like Polk has one that's called odor remediation. And that's where we put
when
our
you
kitty
said that,
litter.
I was like, so that I wasn't sure what
We,
exactly what that meant,
that's
but now
where,
I'm
that's where we
fascinated.
put our stinky books, so we could still leave them, um, still leave them on the patron's card, because if you check them out to a staff card, then they're no longer attached to that patron. And we had a patron that complained that, well, I wasn't the last one that checked it out. I didn't make it. So what we did is we left them attached to the card and just changed the shelving location to odor remediation, because it sounds better than kitty litter box.
Sounds better than smelly shelf.
Belly books, or, we had one for missing pieces, and so it stays on their card. And so it's not checked back in. And so they could say, well, I wasn't the last one, or whatever. I returned it with all my pieces. So that was just a way we found to work around items with missing pieces, and those, of course, you won't want on the PLS server as a code of some sort. And there's other libraries that have similar things, so. Just a thought. But no, I kind of I do like your idea of working with the group shelving location and seeing if we can get it to work.
Just getting everybody on board. That would be the trick.
Getting everybody on board. I mean, I can go in and assign them at the consortium level.
I was
And
gonna
just
say,
put it
Colleen
in
can
there.
do it. I don't know if we have to have them.
That's why I said, for this, we don't necessarily have, if we use the shelving locations too, because for one, they wouldn't even be seen. They're not seen from the OPAC, and they're not seen on the staff side. It's only really seen in reports and that whole grid page. And they can just learn to ignore that column. And I think it might help with running reports later on. I could see where it would really work for the count. It might be more tricky for how many items, but we already have a report that will work for that within each individual library. For the PLS, you don't really need to know how many print items came from other libraries. You just need to know how many things served. Just thoughts, things that go through my mind at 2 o'clock in the morning.
This is a great timing because now we've got plenty of time for testing and ideas.
Yes, we would just have to have it implemented, policies in place and implemented before the August. So, there's a thought.
I will also say I reached out to Elizabeth at Pales, and they upgraded yesterday, so she didn't have time to send me all of her report settings that she's testing for them with the shelving location groups. But at some point before our next PLS survey, I may have like another example for us to look at for a big consortium that's trying to do something similar here. So
Yeah, because that's basically what Corey at the state library is that is there some way we could put a code on these shelving locations? He asked what he actually asked for me at first was for me to code all those those 4,000 shelving locations and send it out so they could, no, let's figure something else out. He just wanted a spreadsheet with all what the shelving locations. Like, no, you don't want that. We don't want that. So. Trying to make it easier on you guys. I hate PLS. As far as running the reports and that
Yeah.
kind of, it's,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always thankful to have things easier if we can make it easier. Well, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add? Anything else they'd like to discuss? If not, I will entertain ending the meeting for the day.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes. Okay. Well, I will second the motion. We shall adjourn, and I will see you all again next month.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Tony.